Hello, I'm artist Michael Binkley, and I'd like to tell you about another one of the original stone sculptures that we have for sale here in our gallery in Squamish, British Columbia, Canada. This is an abstract. I've titled it Matched in Flight, and I've created it from a piece of granite. It's a large sculpture. I'm estimating it weighs between 500 and 600 pounds. The granite comes from Australia, and its commercial name is garden ice. And the interesting aspect of this particular type of granite is that in amongst the black and white striations of the stone are these little red spots that are garnets. And now they're not gem quality garnets, but they are very, very pretty, and they give the stone a slight brown cast from a distance. And because of this aspect, I have created in the past many bald eagle sculptures out of this stone using the polished part of the stone for the body, and then the tail and head feathers I've bush hammered to give the illusion of the stone being white. And this particular sculpture, I did want to give the illusion that it was created from two separate pieces of stone. And I achieved that illusion because this is actually one piece of stone, it's one piece of granite. But I've used textural contrast to give the illusion of two different types of stone. On this side, I have chosen to polish the stone almost to a high gleam, but not quite. It sort of has the illusion of a dry bar of soap, but there's enough polish to the stone so that you can enjoy and see the aspects of the colors and the patterns of the stone. And on this half of the sculpture, I've left tool marks on the stone. So to the touch, it's much more rough surface than the darker side, but I've managed to keep the flowing, graceful lines that are evident in both halves of the sculpture. One can see the transition tucked in behind here. Now what I've done is I've undercut the granite to give the illusion that this form here is actually sitting or resting on the darker side, but I've achieved that by doing what's called undercutting. And in between where the undercutting ends, you can see where I have changed from using the smoother polished side of the stone to the rougher textured side of the stone where it appears to be more white. The genesis of this sculpture was in 2018 when I was asked by a major Canadian airline to create a sculpture that they wanted to decorate their executive waiting lounge at the Toronto International Airport in Ontario, Canada. The project never went to fruition. However, this is the sketch of the original idea, and it stayed in my head for several years until last year when I decided to pull this piece of granite off the shelf of the studio and create the piece, make it a reality. Unfortunately, the shape of the granite would not allow for the original sculpture concept to be created. So I had to augment the composition a little bit to what you see here. Because the original idea was to do with flight, with aviation, I wanted to create forms that sort of had an uplifting, ethereal kind of feel to them. So they are heavy at the bottom, but as the eye goes up to the top of the forms, they become more narrow and more graceful. And both of the tops of the forms start to break away from each other and curve back from each other. So it could be like the opening of a flower. It could be the path of a rocket ship launching into space. But very much a vertical composition and in keeping with the idea of flight. So matched in flight, the two forms are matched together, and the feeling is that there's a sense that they are taking off from Earth and breaking away from gravity. So there is the story of how this sculpture came into being. It began as an idea for a different type of project, which didn't come to fruition, unfortunately, but the idea did stay in my head, and now it's been released in an actual physical form in this lovely granite sculpture. If you'd like to add this sculpture to your art collection, please either give me a call or shoot me a text to country code 1-604-984-8574, or you can email me at info@michaelbinkley.com. And if you're interested in more information on this particular sculpture or any of the other artworks that are available here in the gallery, please visit my website, michaelbinkley.com. Thanks for watching.